Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm Bill Butts. You might have heard me some things like, I don't know, Cyberpunk 2077 is Douglas. You know, a little show called One Piece where I play Captain Jack. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, blah, blah, blah. There's an ID for that. But what matters is I'm happy you're here. Join me and my boy Paul Castro in the wonderful Points of Experience podcast. Let's go, baby!
That might be the best intro we've had thus far. Really. God, that's what you're in store for. One of the best personalities I've met in my life, let alone Los Angeles, let alone the voiceover industry, let alone just human beings. Bill is a genuine stand-up, just straight-up amazing guy. One of the jolliest people I know, one of the most encouraging people I know, generous. Like, literally, first time I met him, he's like, dude, come to the gym with me. I'll help you out. Like, he was just giving me and a couple of other people advice on, like, hey, you can try this, you can do this. He just wants to help people. He's there to be a resource, as we have learned in this episode. A lot of other people were for him. An unconventional route getting into the world of voiceover. It's not your typical story, which I love. I love when people weren't raised in the theater, so to speak. It's really encouraging to know that you can start at any point in your life. You can make changes, drastic changes in your life, coming from something different to something like voiceover, voice acting, acting on camera, theater. He does it all. He does it all. I don't know if he's still doing this play, but he's in a play with Talon and Patrick Warburton that he had recently done. I don't know if it's still going on. We didn't talk about it. We did, but we didn't expand upon it too much. So definitely check out and see if that's still going on, because it looks phenomenal. And I'm going to be seeing it if it's still there. But unfortunately, I can't look and then re-record this because it's done. What's done is done. We do one takes here. We also talk about his love for anime, video games, what he does for the characters, how he trained to get to the skill level that he is at. What his physicality means to him as an actor. It's a really full course meal here, sitting down with one of the best there is, Bill Butts. Thank you so much. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe before we get on to the good stuff here. It really means a lot to us. And if you so choose to leave us a review, I will reply to it. Or I'll send you a thank you note on Apple, Spotify, wherever you can do it. It means a lot to me. It lets more people know what we're doing. And it can potentially help somebody out there who has been like, hey, I'm interested in doing this. Let me listen to some other people who have done something similar. And maybe that'll be the words that they needed to encourage them to take that next step forward. I'm also offering some services like coaching and career consults for a very limited basis. I don't have a ton of time, but if you are looking for some specific help on something, I'm looking to get more intimate with people, paulcastrojr.com/coaching, or we can go over your stuff, like your demos and that stuff, and we can create a little bit of a career plan. It's just more of a way for me to get intimate with y'all, help you on a personal level. So check that stuff out. But without further ado, we've got the man, the myth, the legend among legends, and a god amongst gods. Bill Butts, Points of Experience, right here. A one. One. What was that, blow pop? Or what was that,
Mr. Owl.
Yeah,
Tootsie Pops.
Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take to get to the juicy roll center of a Juicy Pop? Juicy Roll? Is that what it was called?
That was definitely a song in the early 2000s.
Yeah. I definitely remember those commercials very vividly. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Bill, I'm so happy to have you here. You know, I want to start with this. I do some pretty decent research. I say decent because some people might say I'm a fraud, but I did some research on you before this, and it inspired me to do a little this or that to start the episode. I don't normally ever do this, but it just inspired me. So I want to do a couple of this or that's, and you just let me know. Okay, we're going to start. We're starting off real fun here. Okay, here we go. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Spider-Man or Iron Man?
Spider-Man. Iron Man is Spider-Man. Come on.
Neighborhood
Spider-Man. He's one of the homies.
Listen, I had to go for the two big dogs. I'm a New York boy myself. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Protein bars or protein shakes?
Protein shakes. Because you can do whatever you want with them. Even like I have one I can make taste like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're gonna have it, Paul, and it's vegan.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm in.
I got you.
Yeah. I do. Listen, I love protein shakes. I'm trying to find my protein bars, but shakes are delicious. Bench press or dumbbell press?
Dumbbell press.
Care to explain?
Bench is really, really fun, but at the same time, like a dumbbell bench press, it goes more to your stabilizers, so I can actually do some more rotation, better isolation on top of that as well. And let's face it, you look more like a badass if you're like going big weight to like just two massive boulders in your hand, just slow controlled movement. You feel like a god.
That's why I need to come train with you, because I want to feel like a god and not like a weak smurf. But yes,
join us. Y'all just join the gym. You should too.
I'm going to. I promise you. We will make a date after this. Shorts or jeans?
Shorts.
Shorts. Cool, as in weather, or warm?
Warm weather.
I agree with that. Movies or TV?
Lately, it's been movies, man.
Movies? What movies? What's been a movie on your mind lately?
I just saw that new Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yes.
I've missed the movie experience, like eating my big opening of popcorn and everything like that. And mini review, without spoilers, and things only shown in the trailers. It is incredibly refreshing because it feels like more like a Marvel movie in a long time. Jonathan Majors kills it as Kang.
I've heard.
Absolutely kills it. It's Ant-Man. If you don't like Ant-Man, then don't worry about that. It's more so opening up the universe to something much bigger and broader and cooler.
Yeah.
In the trailer, you do see Kang. So Kang, if you've played any video games or a comic book nerd, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's a man with a very large face who shoots lasers. You'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
I had a wonderful time watching it. You don't expect Lord of the Rings. You're there to see a movie about a man who controls ants facing a man who controls time. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. But something about going to the theater, getting your popcorn and your drink, and just seeing it, it's everything, man. It is.
I do love the movies. I go every week, pretty much every week. And I haven't seen so this is the third Ant-Man. I don't think I've seen the second one yet, but I do love Paul Rudd. So I feel like, and Michael Douglas and everybody else who's in it. So I have to see the second one, and then I will go see the third.
You better do.
I better. It's my duty. Anime or video games?
Damn.
Oof. Did I just get you? Did I put you in the unanswerable question here?
Quick answers right there. I gotta pick a child. I'm gonna go with video games. I love anime, but something about that interactive experience is everything, man. And some games are like anime. I don't know.
I concur, and sometimes they make animes out of video games and vice versa. So I feel like you kind of get best of both worlds. Rain or snow?
Snow. Because making snowmen is amazing, as well as skiing, snowboarding, which I've never done snowboarding, but still, it's a blast, man.
Yes. We got to get you snowboarding. Naruto or One Piece?
One Piece.
One
Naruto
Piece.
is really, really dope, but One Piece has a continuous, just extremely good story. For like, I can look at like Naruto, and I'll be honest, like, that's really, really good. There's some arcs I don't care for. Then there's like One Piece, where I just keep getting more and more invested, and I don't know how they do it, but they do, and it's so good.
And you're in it. That gives you a little bit.
That
of
is
vibes.
also true.
Yes. Okay, here's a really actually no. This is paperback or audiobook?
Paperback. There's something about feeling the book in my hands. That's everything. And turning the pages. That weird. Okay, sounds weird. The smell of it, of like the wood and like the pages, is everything compared to like audiobook. Someone's reading you a story. Cool. I'd rather just sit there and like just zone out of the entirety of the world and just like be just captivated by the reading.
Yeah, there's some audiobooks that I read like I listened to a Star Wars. It was the Darth Sidious audiobook, and they did a lot of the interactive like sounds and lightsaber noises and blasters, and that for me was like, whoa,
really?
I'm in. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Darth Sidious or Darth Plagueis. I forget what the name of it is. Darth Sidious. It's about Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis.
The wise.
Yes, indeed. And it's so good. Highly recommended. But I love books as well. Fruits or vegetables?
Vegetables.
Vegetables.
Like potatoes, carrots are amazing. Fruits are good, but I like vegetables. I don't know what else to tell you.
I ain't gonna fault you for that. And here's the number one question here to end our this or that off of this stupid dumb list that I did here. But I think this one is gonna be a hard one for you. And I did some research for this. So, and based off speaking to you prior, if you had the choice, you were given the option to voice one of these characters. Which do you choose?
Ooh, okay.
John Stewart, the Green Lantern, or Ganondorf?
You bastard. Let's see. I'm actually gonna go with John Stewart.
Okay. Is
Like,
that based off of the new DC news?
A little bit.
Okay.
Ganondorf is one of the dopest villains in gaming. He really is. Or Ganon, be that guy. But John Stewart, he is one of the first black superheroes. He takes on a racist, like a politician, his first comic. On top of all of that, when everyone's like, name him Daquan Jackson or some thing like that, and they'll go on like, no, he was born in America, and his name was John Stewart.
Yeah.
Great. Like, my name is Bill, for crying out loud. So I'm like, cool. I can like really identify with that. And he's still probably like a black man. He articulates his words. He's educated. He's strong. His willpower, which is everything. He's a black man whose power is will amplified by a ring to manifest it into whatever he can imagine. That's amazing for the black community. Yeah. So for me, there, like the absolute dream role is Ganondorf.
Subconsciously,
it's like you love villains, but nah, it's John Stewart.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and I saw a picture, or I was like just scrolling through like your Instagram or something, just seeing if I could find any gems, and I saw a post where you were like, Ganondorf is one of my favorite. He's like one of my number one favorites to voice. So I was like, I'm going to put you to the ultimate test right now, and thus I did. So thank you for indulging in that, Bill. Thank you for just being on here. This is exciting. I hope this has been already off to a ridiculous start and a fun one at that. But
I'm having a blast.
We finally got to sit down and kind of get to know each other a little bit, unbeknownst to us who even each other were to a degree. You were like, I have no idea who you are, and I loved every second of that.
It's like, that's Paul. Hi, Paul. I have no idea who he is. And I think vice versa. That's kind of awesome.
But you know what it is? I've known so much of your work, and actually even just like going through everything. And we talked a little bit about like Cyberpunk. I thought your role in that, and obviously that show, was one of the most. I had Zach on recently. That show for me really it changed a lot about what I think the animation world with video games in the anime style. Like, it combined so many elements of contemporary media, and I was like, if this is the future, I'm in. Give me anything like this, I'm in. Games that have companion pieces that give you the same world but different story. And I don't want to give spoilers here, so anybody, if you haven't seen Cyberpunk, just mute your ears for about 10 to 15 seconds. You know, I'm just praying that your character comes back. I just think that would be amazing. And it was just so good to see you in that, and I knew your work from that, and then obviously so much more that you've done. And we share maybe like a title or two. I loved you as Odin in Record of Ragnarok. I thought that was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have one of those personalities where I know that every character you do is so far from, like, because you play a lot of villains. You're such a jolly and nice person, and then you play like these badass villains sometimes. It's just like it just is a testament to how good you are. Do you feel that that's like fun for you to kind of stretch outside your range, or do you would you like to play more of these plucky, fun guys that are closer to home?
The plucky, fun ones are a blast because it's like, I don't even need to like warm up. Like, here I am, guys. It's just me.
Yeah.
But there's something really fun about villains. I adore because it's okay. Now hear me out here. It's almost like it's therapeutic. Because we all have that hate inside of us. But at the same time, I was like, cool. What are you doing today, Bo? Well, I'm going to play a strange man who loves the color green, and he murders people and can melt anyone who stands above, like in JoJo's. And like, cool. We're going to do some horrible things, let all my hate out. After that, I was like, hey, Bill. Oh, I'm feeling great, man. I was just like, I got to exercise my demons today. It was wonderful. I might go play with some puppies. Yeah. It's a blast because we all do. We all got it in us. But
yeah,
I find that even playing as villain outside of like that just there, it makes the story so much better because you amp the lead, the protagonist, It's like, become what they hate, whatnot. And like the more I feel like people are like, oh, I hated your character. I'm like, good.
Yes.
Good. And raising the stakes and seeing that, for instance, like, particular scenes in Cyberpunk, going toward the end with like where me and Zach may have had a bit of a moment. So I'm going to say right there, like, how do I not split? Because this is like the last episode.
Yeah.
But it's good. Even like in One Piece, taking on the entire cast.
Surreal.
It's fun. It's fun, man.
What do you do? Because I've noticed, I mean, I don't play as many villains. I'm often playing in that, like, young boy. I don't have the range like you do. I wish I did. I'm very envious. At least very vocally. I do get to play a lot of good-natured people to some degree. Do you find that moments when you're playing these villains that it lingers for a little bit, or are you able to walk away from those things without it really having like that feeling where you're like, whew, like, wow, that just did a number on me emotionally or psychologically?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. And the truth of it is, it's always, it's LA. It's like that long, hour-long drive home where it's like, I need Jesus. So you sit there, and like, you kind of breathe for a little bit, but you get it out, but you kind of say and do some dark things. Mm-hmm. I'll say you're not wrong, where it is that little bit where kind of like that kind of refocusing yourself. And it depends, because like sometimes you're playing a vampire, there's some kind of creepy or weird, but then it's a Crunchyroll show I've done it like before, and like that's fun. But then there'll be things like There's a part in One Piece, and to spoil 100 episodes ago, I play Jack the Draught, and there's this scene where he gets bored after fighting an army for 3 days straight, and decides to gas the entire city. So I'm like, yeah, it's like, then I drive home, it's like, yep, we're gonna put on some happy music, some funk.
Yeah.
Go home, sit and rethink my life. But I repeat, it's kind of odd because it's two sides of the same coin. Like playing like Mass Effect and choosing the Renegade option. It's fun, but if you want to go down to like the deep nitty gritty, yeah, there is always that bit of having to like rebalance yourself.
I feel like music definitely helps that. What is there like go-to music for you that you put on and that's different than what you listen to normally?
Honestly, it's hear me out. I have like a whole list goes like funk. I was gonna play a bit of that right there, and it can range from everything from honestly like Stevie Wonder to Ray Charles to like just going all the way down to even like Donald Glover. If you kind of these happier, upbeat kind of songs, even Donald has some that kind of like goes between the balance of like angry and happy and jokey, and I kind of like kind of brings me back a little bit. Yeah, that is even today, as in. My session ended 30 minutes before this. It's like, yeah, we're doing that drive. I can only say loosely, it's like, we're just doing our jobs.
Yeah.
And then shooting a man. It's like, yeah.
God, it's a physical experience when you're doing that stuff. I was doing for... I'll be vague here as well. Yeah. I was doing an audition that required a lot of creature voices. So when you're doing a lot of those creature voices, oftentimes they lean into darker, more villainous things. And that's I mean, it's a big stretch for me vocally, and for me to believably pull that off, I have to go full mind, body, spirit connection to that. And I was like, I finished it. I sat down in my chair. Allie, my fiance, came home.
Hey,
she was
girl.
Like, she came to sit down and like wanted to talk to me about stuff, and I just said, "Let's just chill." I couldn't. Like she was asking me about something. She's like, "Oh, I heard this good news just happened," and I was like, "I can't go there right now. I just need to sit here and look at you and smile and relax because it's just too much. It just drains so much of your body." And for anybody here who's listening to this on audio and hasn't seen Bill, just go Google a picture of Bill Butts. He's built like a god. You know, he's got a very, very beautiful physique and structure that I am extremely envious of. Do you notice that, like, working out and being in good shape, and maybe even the relationship between when you go to the gym and when you have sessions, do you have any sort of connection between your fitness routine and the work that you do and when you do it?
Yes. Absolutely. I highly recommend anyone who's in the VO world to try to be as fit as you can, because as you would know, Paul, I'm preaching to the choir here, but the physicality that you exude every time you work, it portrays into the work that you do. So let's say, like, if I'm like fighting someone, for me, many years of my life was as a martial artist, still am. You know the mannerisms, the fight, what it feels like to be hit, hurt, or to hit someone, to, let's say, even be cut, stabbed, anything like that there. You can bring that to your work. And I move a lot whenever I'm like acting. So bringing that to it, it's just that little, that pre-life, that subtlety, that 4 to 5D read, as some might even say, comes through into that. So for me, especially, getting my cardio in, my physicality up, make sure I'm able to be loose, it shows. So for that, blah, 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 before I go in here for like a black minute, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it comes down to, no, we'll go to church here. Like,
please,
there's some
this
characters,
is where you've got the podium.
So we'll go back to like physicality and things like that. We'll go with One Piece as an example. Or Tekken, or what do you want to talk about? Like, you look at the sides. Okay, cool. I see this character named Jack. Yes, I read the manga and I love the anime forever and a day. But when I'm reading for that, what do I see? Okay, cool. He's very tall. He sticks his chest out. Cool. So there's a little bit of barrel in his voice here. Look close. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Serrated fangs. That's all he has for teeth. And he doesn't move his lips. So his M's are probably hard for him. Great. Cool. Watch the episode. How does he move? Cool. Let's change that for these lines here. And I realized, look at the line, even the auditions, there'd be like exclamation points. Like, is he really yelling? Let's watch. No, he's just really intense there. So it's bringing those little bits that make it. So I said not only my mannerisms, but also what they're wanting, even if it's just a drawing, or maybe if you're lucky, it's already out. And of course, being in shape means, I can do that for hours and hours. Be like, yeah, it's fine. Or for instance, like, you've had to scream in a session. Yeah.
That stuff gets intense. I mean, I've done full-on war games where that's the entire session. And if you don't have endurance, it's like, I'm rooting for you, because I don't know if you can get through 4 hours of that, let alone 2 hours, which is kind of the maximum now for union jobs. I think it's 2 hours of vocally intensive for union. But it's tough. I've been lucky that I've kind of I've backed my way into an addiction to cardio. I'm now dependent upon it for my mental health, and I've always lifted, but I'm trying to get more intense, and I feel like you will be the next sensei that I need on my journey through my fitness world. That's you brought up a good point too. I want to make sure I say this before I jump. The exclamation point, because this is something I think that trips up a lot of people, especially aspiring voice actors. It's taken me a long time to truly understand what that punctuation means, because I think people see exclamation point and they think it means, oh my God, everything is so big.
Yeah.
When what you were saying, and it's such a good point, and I don't know if we've ever talked about it on here, is that could be further from the truth than you think, where that exclamation point could literally just be like saying the line intensely. Like, that could be an exclamation point. Like what I just did there. Like, this is an exclamation point versus this is an exclamation point.
Yeah.
How did you come to, like, was there an identification moment for you in that type of scenario? Because it became a really hard thing for me to learn. Yeah. Was there a moment where you were like, a director said something to you, or you just were like, hang on, that's not what that is?
It was, about 4 years ago. I was studying with Ned Lott. Wonderful coach, wonderful teacher. And he actually brought that up, and it changed all of my reads. Well, at the same time, I took some lessons from Thomas Gardner, where I was doing like the mocap bolts, and he actually does a lot of script analysis. So I'm like trying to like pick from here and like just find that truth behind no truths, and realizing that like when it comes to painting the picture in a script, that is it right there. And sometimes even like now it sounds weird to say, even if it's written as an exclamation point, as you're acting out the scene, you might even unintentionally not yell.
Yeah.
But have the intensity there, and it's better. And a casting director will be like, that's better than what I actually wanted. Yeah, that one. Right there. And they believe it. So, That's me. That's my answer.
I like it. It's because I mean, listen, it's something I still deal with to this day, where I have those type of inspiring reads where I'm like, it doesn't make sense to be screaming here. I know it's written that way. I know that's what the writer maybe intended, but when I'm doing it, it doesn't feel right. But then I look at the script and I'm like, if Shakespeare wrote this, he'd be so mad. I should just do what he's telling me to do, like trust the writer. But I think it takes a lot of trust in yourself, and you've been doing this for a minute. I'm actually excited now to kind of jump to get to know a little bit about your origin here for anybody who doesn't know, and how you got all started in this, because I know you've been doing voice acting for a minute. I know on camera is something you had done. You've done theater. You're looking to do more TV and film from what we had discussed. Where did everything start from you? Were you a youth that was always in the theater? Or were you somebody who found themselves accidentally doing acting? Like, how did your love of the arts come about? Because just based on your sides here, your size, sir. So I'm sorry. I have to imagine.
Audition?
I have to imagine there were a couple of coaches who tried to recruit you for some sports. I have to believe that was the case.
Size-wise, God, okay. This is going to be a long answer.
Please.
I apologize. But, God, junior high school, I was definitely an athlete. My dad was a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy, so at 12, I got, a bench press for Christmas. So,
wow.
Yeah. That speaks for itself. So, I know that's what I live in Kansas. There's this in video games. So, as a kid, there's a lot to do in Kansas. But as a child, you're not going to go to the speakeasies. Anyway, let's see. So, would work out. Did track, did shot put, javelin, 4x1, 4x2, loved it. And some folk were like, you should join the Navy like your dad. And I'm like, I want to be the first black male to go to space and live. Actually, a joke. I say joking, but no, realistically, I did want to be an astronaut. I was a Science Olympiad kid. Eventually even got to college. I wanted to be didn't want to study. So I'm taking astronomy courses and things like that, trying to figure out my life. And I remember it was we had our astronomy final, and it was hours after Star Wars Episode 3. I walk in, I'm tired as crap, and I walk up to our professor, and I'm like, yeah, you good, Bill? Oh, I'm tired, man, but that lightsaber fight was awesome. And he goes, you son of a bitch. I had to print your papers. I had to miss the movie. So, I laughed, he laughed, and eventually I'm taking the test. And bruh, there was a math problem on that said, there's a shadow moon that is excellent compared to this time of day between Earth and moon and its ratio. How long is the shadow? And I realized something. I didn't care. I didn't want to do math for the rest of my life. It was a thought so strong it came out of my mouth. And when I literally just said, I don't give a shit. I put my pencil down, just down to cleared my head for a minute, finished it, still passed the class, everything like that. There, I laughed. Professor Doug Patterson, it's important.
Shout out.
Laughed it too. Oh, Doug's amazing. And I thought it was funny, and I sat back there, I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And I had the most interesting week after that, trying to figure out this Kairos moment of life of everything shifting. And I had a lady walk up to me at work. I have no idea who this person is. They said, you got a good voice. You should try theater or something. I'm like, huh. And at the same time, some friends of mine were going to anime conventions and things like that, and I never went because I was like, it's not my bag. I love anime, but all I know from Comic-Con is comic book guy from Simpsons. I want to be about that life. And man, was I happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
I went to one and I had the best time. Everyone showed up in cool cosplays. I didn't bring any, so I put on a towel, just up as the Old Spice guy, and that worked surprisingly well. And it was great. After a few of those, we were doing a panel. We were just going to riff all over City Hunter. It was Jackie Chan dressed up as Chun-Li. I'm not kidding. Google it.
I have to.
Yeah, it's great. Starring Jackie Chan. He does have a full scene as Capcom's Chun-Li. It's hilarious. And Keith Silverstein crashes the panel. Sits in, and we're all just laughing at it. And I'm like, huh. Now, I don't look up a lot of things, but there's one thing I knew, and that was Keith was one of like 2 black people I knew who voiced anime. Like there's Keith or Bo. You don't hear anyone else. It's usually like a white dude putting on their own version of black voice. We don't sound like that. And I just had to pick his brain. I was like, hey man, I'm trying to figure out some things real quick. What do you do? How'd you get into VO? Like, what do you do? It's like you're like the only black guy I know who does it. And he sat with me for like an hour.
Wow.
Told me everything, was like, great. Went about his business. And little did Keith know, when I got back home, I changed my major. I went for theater and journalism. Started off with theater till my professor was like, hey, yeah, you can make a demo. I'm like, cool, how much is that? $2,000? Bet. Doubled down and went to journalism to learn how to work a board. Because I'm like, maybe I'll just study and learn how to make my own. Holy crap, that's expensive. So, did that, and it was like 16 to 19 hours at a time. And I'm doing like Shakespeare contemporary, the works. So eventually I got to enter for Cumulus Radio. Now, this is going to circle here, right?
Yeah.
Enter with Cumulus Radio, or with Krista Gall on the morning show. We're the political talk radio. So pause here. If you see me talk politics, oh, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So there's no one's going to be like, we're the right's bad, the left's bad. I'm like, yo, I've heard the same crap from both. And Black Lives Matter. If that's too much for you, that's on you. But if we can actually talk about politics, I will. Oh, I will. It was literally my job.
Wow. So, I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And after a while of that, it was a junior college I had gone to do like astronomy. They'd hit me up and go like, hey, you want a job? I'm like, yes.
Money, please.
And they hired me back, and eventually I became the manager of the department for radio.
Whoa.
And came back then. Doug Patterson and I became just actual friends. Like, it was weird. I was your student. Now we're like working side by side. Like, yeah, it is weird. So I ran that for years. And if you guys get bored, you can find a ton of photos, videos, and all that on my Facebook, or maybe a little bits of my Instagram. Yeah, it's all still there.
Heck yeah.
I ran that for a minute until also at the same time going back to conventions. This is a long answer. Quiet, you.
I command you.
But after all that, I was still going to anime conventions, and my language of choice was Japanese in school.
Mm-hmm.
So some stuff happened at a con, and they figured that out, and a company hired me to be their MC. So
Whoa.
They would MC for Japanese bands and bring them in. They had some translators. I would help with that as well. And it would be from random bands to Final Fantasy. So there's photo and video of all this easily found online. I was working with Nobuo Uematsu from Final Fantasy and Fujio Kishihiro, who made Mario RPG. I would go on full tours with them. It was awesome. And at the time, I'd meet some people. Everything was great. So I had a great time. So in theater. Started competing internationally on camera, which was great. So I did that for anything from the 48-hour film festivals. Did them all. And things were going great. I got a great agent in KC. Kept things going, modeled for Legions, modeled for Hallmark, and did commercials for Sprint, which got my union card. Until as time went on, one day I was talking to Kyle Barrick, a good friend of mine, because he started in Radio Disney. He's like, oh, I'm doing radio right now. So we became bros. So we're just sitting there just like talking. He goes like, what if, I don't know, we ever think about checking out LA? And I'm sitting there, and I sound like a jerk saying this, but like I feel like a whale in a pool. You can't see. He's like, I'm comfy. I have a townhouse. It's great. Everything's wonderful. But I'm not. I want more. So I wanted that full-on acting experience. Instead of like being like, yeah, I'm in my small town, but instead of like actually pursuing the dream.
Yeah.
So it's not a visit. So I hung out with him, and Xander is also a good buddy of mine. We were talking to him. He and I became friends over mutual love of, ironically, Green Lantern. Yeah. So I went there, and before I knew it, I found myself just some friends out, ended up doing an audition out there. It was kind of crazy. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. So I made the plunge. I visited it in March of 2017. In September 1st, I moved out here, got an apartment, and I went in.
Wow.
So that I've been living out in LA ever since. Been working, and it's been a trip. I can know more details, but for the actual origin, that is the story right there, which eventually led me out here to LA.
Wow. So much craziness. Number one, the fact that you were basically running a department in a college to, not even having been. And this is what I'm curious about. Someone had said to you, you have a good voice, you should try theater. Had you even considered doing any form of acting before? Like, was that anything even in your life or your radar? Because you said you wanted to be an astronaut, but did you ever even how did somebody telling you that then turn into you walking into the theater and being like, now I'm going to perform? Had you ever performed in any capacity?
It was surprisingly not really. I can't call it in elementary school I played a sheep and no. But it was nothing I could legitimately count. Yeah. Until that moment, some random stranger was like, "You have a nice voice," and I was like, "Baka." Yeah. Baka. Heard that, and then talking with Keith gave me legitimate hope. It was like, because the more, let's face it, we notice. It was like, nobody looks like me, but voices characters. Yeah. And coming out here, that little bit of hope I just kind of grabbed onto. Yeah. And came out here. I've been doing it ever since there, and still fighting for this cause nonetheless to make it happen. And it's beautiful, man. It really is.
It's amazing. And you've had such a great career in honestly what is such a shorter time than I thought you were doing this. I mean, obviously IMDb puts the dates at which things have released. So if you worked on One Piece, I think there's a credit on your IMDb that says you did it in 1995. That's when I'm like, wait a second, how old is
memories? Bill? Bill is 36.
Not 49, which something tried to say or whatever that was. I remember that was funny.
And it was I remember sitting there with Tony Oliver, and he's like, "Oh, Bill, you're in great shape for your age." I'm like, "What? You're 51, right? I'm 30. Oh my god!" And Anime News Network, thank you for fixing this. Yeah, had me on there as 51 years old. I'm like, what? Where? It's easy to find my birth date. It's 7/7/86. Oh my god! But yeah. Anyway, at the age of 36, I started technically my first acting professionally around 24. When I say I started doing commercials for the KC Royals baseball team. And so there were radio spots for that. To eventually things kept going to where they are. So yeah, we're now around 12 years into this.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's so, I think a lot of people, you hear of their stories that started in previous years, people who've been doing this for 30, 40 years, they started as radio DJs or, people writing copy for radio. I did a little bit of radio when I was in college. There's definitely a translation between knowing how to work a mic from doing on air as a radio host into voice acting. But I think the element that is a little bit removed is that when you're on radio, you're oftentimes just playing yourself. You're playing a version of yourself or one character. Very rarely are you playing multiple characters. When did your understanding of your range as an actor and your ability to play different characters, because you have a really wonderful range. And for someone who has such a distinct voice, and you do have a great voice, when I listen to your reel, I'm not the first person to say that, nor will I be the last. You have in every one of your characters that is at the very least on your reel, there is such distinct nuance in not only the tone and resonance, but full-on personality. And to me, that comes from someone who woke up reading, Mammoth and Shakespeare and all that stuff. It feels very nuanced in particular. So where did that understanding for nuance and character and the nitty-gritty of acting come into play?
That was actually Ned Lott and Tony Oliver were actually my coaches with that one, as well as Mick Wingert. It helps me kind of wonderful coaches. Mm-hmm. And it kind of helps me break down each character, because all it really is to me, because of making these characters, is moments of time of myself. Now, further elaborating on that, when you were 5 years old, you'd be out you're the playground and whatnot, and you're like, I'm Spider-Man. Nothing else mattered then and there. You were Paul Castro, a.k.a. you were Peter Parker for that brief moment in time. You had the strength equivalent of a man to a spider. You could fling on walls. You had psychic spider bubble sense thingy, and it was amazing, right? Nothing else mattered. So when I get into the booth, it could be anything from, Roosevelt to even Captain Jack in One Piece. It's amazing. And finding the two is like, all right, let's think about me right now. Cool. What am I? All right, I'm a 27-foot tall, half grouper man. I wake up and choose violence. These hands ready to eat for everyone. Blah, 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 blah. It's all of my hate. Even the quiet hate when he speaks.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Or something like Kyosuke Hori and Horimiya. That is just what I honestly visualize as like future me. Like I want to be a dad more than anything. So it's like cool. I love playing. I love playing people's dads. It's a blast. Yeah. So for that, it's like if you were to say like watch an anime and see that, that's just me.
Yeah.
Just
it's great too.
Me. Yeah. And it's just like find those little bits, and you'll notice this is going to be a bit of you own of that character that bleeds through. So it could be anything from Monster to Tekken to that to even Smite. You go on a list. We'll make something up right here. Okay, we'll say if I were to try to portray Eddie Brock Venom and you're Spider-Man, cool. You would probably first say, "Well, change up a little bit here, maybe a little bit closer." Is he raised in Brooklyn? Okay, good. We're going to change it up there for the accent. Great. Add some weather to it because maybe he smokes every now and then, and now it's simply still me in a different situation, and I have a chip on my shoulder, so now I'm going to maybe grit my teeth a little bit when I talk. Hey, how you doing? Yes, great. Yeah, all right. And now we're just going to build onto that, so it becomes something new. You can't even imagine. Holy crap, that's Bill.
Yeah.
I did this at a con, and it blew people's mind, where I'm like, who likes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? It was like, yeah! All right, great. Who likes Horimiya? Yeah! But like, so mostly girls who actually like shows or people who deal with emotions. The guys like, big explosion things.
Yeah, fight like, people!
Yeah. I said, you know what's crazy? I didn't change my voice at all. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah, watch it again. I could say something like, so tell me, what do you really like about my daughter? Or if it's Chocolata, no, sicko. Did you record like I asked you to? I want to watch them suffer. It's the same voice, but it's the intent behind that exclamation point.
Yeah.
That little bit of soul you put into it. I didn't change anything but how I said and what was behind like the soul when I'm talking. And you'd be amazed. Like, he's got a lot of voices. Not as much as you think.
No,
not really. Yeah,
but I think that's really the point that comes across, especially in a lot of stuff I've seen you in, is that when you get to do something different vocally, that's fun. That's like the gravy. That's the candy. That's like, oh, cool. I got to do something I didn't get to do. But what I see, and it's very clear, that's kind of your process, or at least what I believe to be your process, is you really focus on what is this character's history? What is their physicality? Where is it coming from in my body that is going to alter the rhythm, the pace, the way, like where I put intentions on certain things, like you said earlier, like someone can't say their M's that great. That all together just makes a different character, and I think it's a great lesson for people, because I felt this way too. I'm not an impressionist. I'm not really a vocal chameleon. I know my tricks. I know the things that help me get by when they want me to do ancillary characters. They're like, okay, we want you to play these people. I'm like, okay, where's my 6 prototypes I know how to do that really alter my voice here? You know, I have my prototypes that are there, and I build from there, kind of the way that you're saying is I start like, maybe it can be as simple as, even if I put my fingers on my chin and everything just kind of goes up because I'm thinking about every line I say and everything kind of trails off, that's a different character than me, you know? So there's so much, people put so much effort into like this, you know, like I have to, you know, if my voice doesn't sound like this, I'm not a voice actor. And that's not at all, I think, what creates compelling performances. Yeah. It's a very hard thing to swallow, hard pill to swallow. But I've booked more work in my life auditioning just the way I'm talking to you right now, just doing something a little different. It's crazy. It's hard. Do you find that you have a similar? Because I feel like you probably get more opportunities to play these big brute guys. I mean, your voice print kind of lives there. Do you start with something really close to home and then maybe flavor in a second take that might have a little bit more vocal liberties? Do you think like that?
I absolutely do. Unless it tells me otherwise, I will 9 times out of 10 give him a take 2. And my other thought was like, all right, cool. Let's make it weird.
Weird. I like
we're gonna
that.
save you, put you aside there. Okay, cool. And I'd be like, all right, cool. Now I'm gonna make him just gross. Like it was. I know audition was like large man. Da 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 da. I'm like, cool. And I was like, now what's a large man sound like? Honestly, anyone else really. Cool. Now I'm gonna make it gross. No, he's gonna be right here the whole time. I miss my wife. No, it's like that. I'll say that like, no, really. I don't know. This is how I talk. Great. It's believable. You've heard a guy who sounds like this, or a guy who sounds like this, or maybe I don't know. High up in your range, right there. It's fine. Nearly any voice works, but the question is, do they believe it? Now, do you have to do weird things with your face? No. I can think of a handful where I do, and it's like ancillary stuff. Like you've watched the Resident Evils on Netflix. I do a lot of the zombies, so that's the fun. Like,
yeah.
Hold on, weird stuff right there. It's really gross, but that's why I'm like, I'm just doing weird stuff with my face.
Yeah.
You're just talking. You're just talking.
Yeah. Has there been a project for you that was surprisingly tough, whether just the character or the scenario you got yourself into vocally, where you were like, "Oh, this is tough on the old chords here." Was there, or it doesn't have to be vocally, but even just from like, this is just a tough character to play.
Ooh. This is where I have to be like, the answer is yes.
Of course.
Emotionally, it's from a video game that's coming out later.
Oh.
And I want to work again, so I'm not going to tell you much more than that. Though vocal stress wise, I would say Ogre and Jack have been the most vocally stressful. Where there'll be times where it's like, I need like to not talk for a couple of days and enjoy this wonderful product right over here.
Oh god, yeah. I've got mine in the kitchen. It's a lifesaver. Nimjoy, if you've never had it. We gotta like get an affiliate link for that, because I feel like I'd make so much money off of people clicking that.
Please sponsor Paul Castro. Yeah. He's good.
No, that stuff has saved my life so many times. Yeah. And I think people sometimes get themselves into situations where, going back to what I was saying earlier, they think they need to push themselves to limits that aren't really replicable more than a few lines, and then they damage themselves. I had that with my audition before too, and it's tough. I think something that I realized too, it's like there are people like Bill who can do this better than I can for longer. Let them do that. Let me do what I do well.
And I cannot sound like you at all.
Just really squeeze everything in your body and.
Nope.
Oh gosh, it's so fun. So now this makes me curious. Did you always want to do voice acting over anything else from that person telling you, or did you have aspirations because you were doing the modeling and everything like that else early on to do on camera and TV?
The following has a positive end to the story. I want that to be the foundation where I say this. I actually didn't. I wasn't sure because I came in here because I like acting. Yeah, I do. Like, giving that your take on the truth right over there, where people can just kind of see themselves in you and kind of reflect that to be the absolute reality. Because I can talk about like what acting is for a long time, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. No, anyway. So came here with that in mind, and I was trying to get like an on-camera agent, and the best I could do was, or you can read for a crackhead on this show or a slave. I wish I was kidding. I was like, wow. Okay, does winning these festivals count? It means nothing to you? Okay. All right, bet. And it was a couple weeks in, I got to read for Gundam, and I booked it.
And how did that happen? How did you get that opportunity? You just from knowing the people? Like, how did that come to fruition?
It was, I had heard through the grapevine that they were reading for a new Gundam movie. And I was like, hey, listen, guys, if you guys are reading for that, throwing out there, any chance you could maybe poke the bear, see if I could read for it? Uh-huh. And they're like, sure. Yeah. I get an email back and like, hey, we heard about you. You feel free to submit. I'm like, great. Submitted. They liked the read, and I booked a character. His name is Sebastian Morris of Gundam Thunderbolt. And I recorded that. After that, I was sitting there, and of course, you're an actor. It's that theater of the mind. So, like, for me, like, imagining, it's like, cool. A large black man, cool. I'm in space, great, da. And then, like, for me, actually, true life story, it was surprising to the producer who was in the room. Gundam is actually one of my favorite animes of all time. And I know it to an obnoxious degree. Ooh. So I was sitting back there like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, Monofsky Particles, great. She's like, wait, what? I was like, oh, yeah, sorry. And I'm like, you imagine if, like, I'm in a giant robot. I'm pausing, like, this is way more fun than anything I've ever done to this date of on camera. Mm-hmm. I want to do more of this. So after that, realizing my options was play a slave or a crackhead or potentially anything when it's in voiceover. Now, there were a lot of snags because voiceover had some hiccups and folk had very old mentality where they're like, well, he was black, read for the black character. I'm like, sir, I was raised in Kansas. This is the definition of a Midwestern neutral accent. Yeah. So we had a lot of meetings. Good things happened. Eventually, they started leveling up on that in 2020. We'll let that explain itself. Anyway, and with that out of the way, I suited both. I suited plays. Also, recommend look up Mike Yavianelli. Great coach for on camera and theater, and he directed me and Patrick Warburton in a play recently.
Phenomenally.
Yes, I'll tell you, it was the dumbest and funnest thing I've done in a minute. So still doing that, still looking at on camera, and did get an on camera agent. So right now, reading for that.
Yeah.
We'll see where this goes.
That is a happy full circle, and I had kind of the similar revelation where you can kind of get pigeonholed into on camera. I mean, you are dealing with something very particular, which is like, I don't want to just only play these stereotype bad, like things that I know I have more skill to do. Like, give me the opportunity to shine here. In voiceover, it kind of gives you that freedom to play. Like you said, you get to operate a freaking Japanese robot and like fight stuff. That's my only because I got to do a Gundam thing and I didn't get to operate. My character did not get to operate a Gundam, and I was like, my character's like, let me operate the white Gundam, let me do it, and then the guy's like, no, and I'm like, fuck.
I must do it. Play some dramatic music.
Yeah, that's my one regret in Gundam. I didn't get to operate the pilot the Gundam, but I totally understand your sentiment, and I asked you earlier, for anyone here who didn't make sense of this, when I said did it have to do with like the DC news. I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing. I'm interested to see how it pans out. I hope it doesn't become a celeb fest, in the sense of I really think that there's some wonderful voice actors who have really great physicality, who have a presence. I mean, I've seen the stuff you do on camera in theater, and it would be like Bill, like, give him one of these roles in these animated series and let him do the on camera, please. Like, I feel like you are a perfect prime candidate for something like that. Has this been a new strategy you've had where you're like, I want to focus more on camera, or I want to do more mocap? I mean, I have to imagine you have been physical. Like, how long have you been working out, I guess is the question. How long has this process been going on?
For 24 years, since I was 12 years old. Yeah, I went to the gym today. I go about 6 days a week. That martial arts, fitness is very important to me because I want to look like this forever, and I can. So is the thought of like being 80 and being like fearing stairs terrifies me. So it's like, nah, I'd rather be 80 and be able to hike mountains. Like you do see it. People are like, just hiking. Because if you also let your body really atrophy like that, and it's like a decent diet and a regular workout routine, you really can. But if you're not taking care of like your joints or your muscles, they will just slowly become weak, brittle, and you're not muscles aren't supporting your bones. Well, good luck with that. Yeah. So that's why it's important to me, man.
Yep, I think I had a very interesting. Not that I wouldn't consider myself old by any stretch of the margin here, but I've had things where I'm experiencing little creaks and cracks, and things are harder to do, and I'm like, oh, that never used to hurt. Why does that hurt? And I have to agree that being able to be have the strength to do anything and everything I want. I never want my physicality to be a reason why I don't book something, and that means on camera or off camera. I don't want there to ever be a reason why if a mocap job comes around, I can't do it. If an on-camera thing comes around, this guy's got to be able to fight crime and do fight sequences. I want to be able to do it. I got to do Super Saiyan screams for 4 hours. I want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Is there like a dream? I know we talked about Jon Stewart and Ganondorf. Is there a role or a universe that you really want to be a part of, that you feel like this is like what everything has been leading to, whether it's on camera or in voice acting? Is there something that you've been had your eye on for a while, since a kid or whatever?
Okay, for this we'll go backwards and forwards. Backwards, I didn't quite answer this question. I apologize. On camera, VO, mocap, I want to do it all.
Yeah,
it's acting. Like I literally sit back there, and each one has their own strengths, but I think it's like really, really fun. The only mock I've really done is WWE 2K22. I'm the face of every male wrestler, pretty much. But yeah, another story there. But if you're talking about things I want to do in the future, I would love to be a superhero, because I grew up reading Spider-Man comics. Unfortunately, I came into the Clone Wars, the Clone Saga. We'll leave that as is. That's where I came in. But outside of that, like to be a comic book hero would be amazing.
Yeah.
Also hero, because villains are really, really fun, but at the same time, like I want to portray something more positive into the world. On camera, I would say I would be Jon Stewart, or just a lantern. There's a lot of cool lanterns out there. You know, I'll be Kyle. I don't care. But that's something I would really like. Villain wise, you know, I think Apocalypse would be dope. Contrary to what I said, he is my favorite. One of my favorite villains in comics of all time. And hear me out. This is a little funny here. Dubbing wise, things like that, I love the Godzilla universe to the point where I was like 5, 6 years old. We're all in like elementary school. Everyone's like reading like Dr. Seuss. And I legitimately remember in unnamed school, so you guys can't find me. Went to elementary school, like getting lost in the library, and I found like a Godzilla and a Rodan book, and it blew my mind. And after that, I was obsessed with Godzilla. So after that, like, yeah, anything kaiju related? Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I will brush my teeth to that shit. I don't know if I can cuss on your stream, but anyway.
No, it's all good. Yeah, a Godzilla. Has there ever been, like, an animated recent Godzilla adaptation? There has? Huh.
It's on Netflix, and I want to say I am in it, playing a guy named Tanaka, and Guard B. I laugh because Tanaka has one scene. Guard B has 8 episodes.
What?
Full speeches, and fights Godzilla and I think Anguirus as well. But they literally never give him a name. I'm laughing really. Episode 10, like, oh, I swear to God. Like, Bob, yep. Guard B, oh my God! No, doesn't even die. Like,
he goes on to be the hero in the sequel. Guard B. Dude, I would watch that anime. Just like something, like they should make something called like Guard B, and that's the anime.
Guard B.
And it's just this dude who's watching Heroes all the time, and then like you're following the heroes and the camera pans, and you see this normal dude who's like, wait, what? I'm supposed to be the hero here? Like, what? That would be brilliant. We got to pitch it, Bill. We've got to take it to the studios.
Right. These lips to God's ears. Or Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that is so
Hire
brilliant.
me and Paul.
Yeah, right? No, that would be brilliant. You moved here in 2017. You started working. You wind up getting an agent kind of fairly early on after doing these works you're getting referred to, right?
Yeah.
When did it become like, okay, I'm able to do this for real here? Because you had, when you moved here, did you have like a nest egg, or were you like, I got to figure out work while I'm here?
I came in with a nest egg because my survival job was a Costco pharmacy and the radio at the same time. I worked 7 days a week when I wasn't at conventions, and I just hip-pocketed as much money as I possibly could. Came out so I could handle like a few months of rent, and after that, your boy went in. I was like, no, just in case. I know everybody in like the KC, Missouri, and Kansas side area. I know 2 people. That's it.
Yeah.
I knew Xander Mobus, I knew Kyle Bear, and that was it. I knew no studios, nothing like that. I really should have done that hindsight 2020, but yeah. So then it was just kind of this weird thing I built with a little bit of help. No one does anything like all by myself. No, you had a little help.
Of course.
With a little bit of help, he was being like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Give him a listen. I would have paid my rent.
Yeah.
But, till eventually did work out.
And you have the goods to back it up, and I think that's a big thing for people who are, it's one thing to get a referral. It's another thing to get that referral and then for you not to deliver. Like someone went out of their way to be like, hey, listen to this person here, and then you're on the read of your sides or in the studio doing the audition, and you're just like, and you're nervous or you just, you're not, that makes... Not that everybody is going to make a first impression your only impression you ever have. There are a lot of forgiving people in this industry, but you want to make sure that you have the goods before anybody takes this as advice to be like, reach out to all these voice actors and ask for referrals. It's like you want to make sure you're good and you have the cred or you have the you have the practice you've gone through coaching. That's a very important part because I get people who hit me up all the time and they're like, can you refer me for X, Y, or Z? And something you said earlier is like there's a project. And I've seen these in certain sides, and shout out to all the casting directors who do this, where they're like, if you think someone is right for this, let the studio know. And that is so great when that's included. Like that's like some real champion casting directors out here. Yeah. But if you're not ready for that opportunity, like I'm not going to give that to my nephew who's 5 years old, like I'm just not going to recommend him. He's just not. I mean, unless they want some real kids, actually, that's not a good example. I'm not going to give it to my sister who's never done an acting thing in her life. That's a better example. But that's so cool that you had people vouch for you and kind of throw your name out there, and you were kind of able to. How steady did the work come after you kind of got a few creds under your belt?
That took some time because I also have that old Midwestern bit of honesty. Right? This is going to answer your question and circle back to something you just brought up just now.
Okay.
Before I moved out, I had done theater, on-camera, improv, everything, which is important. Improv is very important. So... outside like Gundam, my friend John Allen was like, "Hey, you ever talk to Bang Zoom?" And I was like, "Who are they?" Yeah, they do everything from Rick and Morty to JoJo's to you name it. Most of the animes you've seen,
Demon Slayer,
Demon Slayer, yep, it's all them. I'm like, cool. He's like, "Hey, email him." It's like, "Here's my stuff." Send a long email. They said, "Great, we're reading for Resident Evil 3. I'd love for you to read for this part." It was a 3-page audition. Mocap. I came in, I knew it forwards and backwards. Did it? They go, "Wow, that's great. Have you done mocap before?" I'm like, "Nope, but I have done a lot of theater." I said, "Thank you for your time, but yes." I see like the. I'm like, "Damn it!" Now here's why that's good. I would rather have said that, and I'm happy that I did, because clearly I didn't get into Resident Evil 3. I did not. I did become all the Zombies and whatnot for like the shows. There's a whole other story there. But it's important because 1, I was honest with the director. Yeah. 2, I would have showed up there and not know what a clue I was doing, and then probably been fired. Yeah. Which is bad. So that's why, be honest. And at the same time, the director still remembered my performance. Yeah. Started getting sides, and before I knew it, I was in One Piece. And I was like, One Punch Man. One Piece is Crunchyroll. I was in One Punch Man. It's led to JoJo's, and things went on from one there to another. So be honest. Yeah. Now. Also on that note there, I started digging my toes, digging my feet into the ground, really trying to figure things out, and I started doing stand-in work. So did actually a lot of that. I did some stunts and whatever I could to supplement it until eventually it was ironically around 2020 when studios started letting us as black people read for things. I became really comfortable. I was like, okay, cool. I can just live and do that because I was doing a lot of podcasts, like stand-in, whatever I could between like the anime stuff in case you do a convention. And now, after like from 2020 on, I was like, no, things are fine. No, they're good because now they see us as people, which is it's a whole other conversation here, which I'll have. But and now I was happy to surprise them again and again, including today. Like. They see the director like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, I can do that. So it's things like that have led to today where that's good.
That is so inspiring, and I think the thing that you're touching upon is just like allowing there to be stories with characters that are black, that aren't the, where you're not the side piece, or you're not the comic relief, or you're not the bad guy. It's like, where are the stories where these characters who just so happen to be black can have the same 3-4 dimensional storyline, and people want to follow them, and it's so amazing right now that that's been happening. I mean, there's, I mean, especially from the superhero perspective, I think it's like, I mean, black.
It goes beyond that a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you here. Yeah. Outside of even just letting dark-skinned people, black people, as an example, to read for even the white characters.
Yeah.
Because there was a mentality where they didn't understand that this is what black sounds like.
Yeah.
So instead of being pocketed to, like, out of 100 characters and 2 are black, you can read for these 2.
Yep.
But everyone else can read for all 100. And now that's opened up a little bit to now people who look like me. I can now flip the tables. I can be that Keith to them and be like, no, things are actually better now. Like, do this, and one day I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And that's the honest truth of it right there. While at the same time, I'm going to agree with you. It is good to see things in heroes when out there are writing more Latin characters, more black characters, more Asian characters who aren't 50s Caucasian ignorant people. Not to say anything against Caucasian people, but you know what I'm saying here, because they were the ones making it. Yeah. To make a sexist, racist, stereotypical characters. It's good to see that it's opened up so people can see those characters and be inspired by them to honestly be better,
I think it's so important, and it's great. I really hope that we continue down this road, and we especially in the world of animation and anime even too, like we're finally seeing like this not just happen on in the Western world, but also like in the Eastern world, where we're not getting these, we're seeing black or darker skinned characters now appear in Japanese content, so that when it comes to dubbing, it's really encouraging, and that's a whole separate conversation in terms of what Japan or China and Korea, the way that certain characters are portrayed. But it's wonderful, and for me it was like, even Cyberpunk, something that was, I thought I could have sworn that was a prelay. Like the way that was made, and such the good work that you guys did. But to see such a colorful cast of characters and such a good job by everybody who did the dubbing here, it's just like a sigh of relief to be like, this stuff can be amazing. And thank you for the people in the studios behind it who are giving these people a shot to not just be like what could have been Keanu Reeves' story for all they could have wanted to do. That could have been a very easy marketing ploy. Like, let's just take Keanu Reeves' character and make an animated series about it. And they're like, no, let's do something different with, some different characters. That's just been so cool. And I mean, you have been doing such amazing work, more than I had even known. Has there been something of recent that to you were like, this is I'm finally. Do you feel that you're growing into the actor that you're becoming, and you're like, this is where you're talking about NDA wise, like I am doing something that I never thought I was able to do, performance wise, or even just character wise? Is there something that you really relish the moment of where your skill is at now versus when you started?
Actually, absolutely. It's a lot of that self-discovery that's really opening up my mind and my own heart to myself. Because touched on a little bit earlier, it's just a lot of these characters are simply reflections of yourself, put in weird situations. And with some stuff coming out, and some stuff kind of more recently, I have noticed clearly, as you all will never stop learning or taking classes, it was it goes backwards. How do I describe this? I'm trying to lose my words here, but you know where I'm going. We all do like therapy and things like that.
Yes.
You kind of like figure out, my own childhood traumas, my own lives, my own hates, my own loves. What do I really, really think? Mm-hmm. And I feel like the more they do these characters, every time, yes, I go to therapy. I do therapy and explore my own self. The more I do, the more I understand or know myself, Mm-hmm. And that bring that truth to it. There are some things coming out this year where there's a lot of that where I'm crying a lot and it's like sobbing over the things that happened, and some things where action heroes or some shows that are just cool. Yeah. Like I grew up watching Bleach and being in that is amazing.
Heck yeah.
So,
you were great in that. You were so good in Bleach. And that was like one of those titles to come back where I'm so happy they're doing a little bit of the nostalgia ploy. I feel like it's like, I know people love this. Let's make more of this. But it's one of those titles where it was an incomplete kind of show. And to see it done in the way that it was done and having, new people come around, like be a part of the project, I was like, dude, this is better than what it was. Bleach came out, what, like 10 years ago? Was that when that was?
Almost 15
yeah,
years
15
ago.
years. It's crazy. That's like a very big, when like imagine you're watching it as a viewer, like in chronological order for however, and like you have like this dramatic jump in quality from when things were done. It's got to be a pretty weird experience to experience that now for the first time. Bizarre.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Bro.
Do you still watch a lot of the anime that comes out, and do you feel like that is, and even the video games, being an active consumer, how does that affect you as a performer? Because I know you play a lot of video games. I know you watch anime.
Yeah.
Are you more often than not coming across titles you've never heard of, or you're like, I know this franchise and this is why it's helpful?
Yes. I still read a lot of manga, still watch a ton of anime, and even when it comes to like video games, it's a little bit where I'm almost enjoying it more and more as time passes.
Explain.
It's like I'm seeing more and more of the process. Like I was playing Callisto Protocol and having a blast and playing that game. I'm like, I know some of these people. Oh, that is Zeke. Oh, wow. And like Zeke has a voice kind of similar to mine, but he's playing a person with like this poshy kind of like British accent, but it's done so well. I'm pausing because it's his face. Yeah, because they fully capture that. I'm like watching it. I'm just taken by the story. I'm like, all right, let's go, Zeke. I mean, that's not Zeke. He's not him at all. But oh my god, this is amazing. I'm having it like it's way more fun for me that entire time, just watching it and playing and experiencing it. And at the same time, like you learn anything about like mocap or even the acting experience, I'm blown away by the performances. I'm like, wow, this person's amazing. The scene is great, and like my mind separates to become more part of the world, and now I understand everything that's going on. Yeah. And occasionally there's glitches, and I'm like, no, someone should have. But outside of that, it's knowing more about the experience only makes it so much better for me. Yeah. And even when it comes to like even anime or even video games, even cartoons, and watching it, and it's like, at the same time, there's a bit of respect I'm getting because some people I know, some people I don't know, and sometimes they'll be like, that guy's amazing. Who is that? Holy crap, that was Doug Airholt? Let's go. Yeah, it's fun. So long answer to your question is it only makes me love it more. Yeah. It does.
Do you have a favorite? I know we talked about Resident Evil. You really enjoy that. But has there been a game or even an anime that you watched and you were blown away by the performances? I feel like the games is the more interesting question to ask, where you're like, damn, like from a voice acting perspective, this is insanely inspiring. Like for me, the Resident Evil games always hit close to home. When you see the mocap work they do, when you see all the performances that go into it, it's insane. The Last of Us always comes up. Is there something like for you where you're just like, that is the quality and the bar of work that I want to do in this world?
God, The Last of Us was the first time I actually like open mouth, like just like wept because of the opening scene in that video game. That's a bar right there. Yeah. Man. RE2. Listen, I just identify a lot with Leon. He's like he just walks in. Oh my God, the world's on fire. And when I get like uncomfortable and like a very intense situation, I'll just start cracking jokes, and that's Leon's kind of character too. Yeah. Where he's like, oh, well, good. it's like little bits like that. It's like, yeah, I have the same co-mechanism. So it's like, it's things like that I really like when it comes to like performances. Even some are campy, it's like some Resident Evils, and some are very serious, like Callisto Protocol and Dead Space, and even like Final Fantasy, or people like John Bentley, who's crushing it as Barrett, following the steps of the legendary Bo Billings, who did Barrett before in like the movies and stuff. And there's this person here who has like this huge weight on him as he's trying to bring the world right, but understanding that he's doing it by an evil deed of murdering thousands of people. But like, it has to be done or else we all die. It's very, very, very good. So I'm kind of losing myself here, just saying like, yes, acting good.
Good acting.
I like
I
it.
enjoy it. Yeah, it's been very weird for me because I used to watch so much anime, and then as I like got into this industry, I still watch a lot. Maybe it's a product of being busy, but it's like it's a different experience for me because I'm seeing like I wind up watching a new show and I'm watching it through like the person behind the lens, like what you were talking about. I'm like, that must have been a really hard lip flap thing to match. Like, I'm or like from a video game, it's like I wonder how they made that look so cool from a performance. Is that CGI? Is that mocap? Is that face cap? Like I'm so invested in the process now of how things are made that sometimes it hinders my enjoyment. And I even experience that from an on-camera perspective sometimes. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, when I see a performance that is insane, like I've been watching the show on Netflix, The Last Kingdom, and it's about like really early formations of London and England with the Vikings and all that stuff. And there's just some performances where these are actors I don't even know. And it just like it makes me so much more hungrier to learn and to train and want to get better and to bring that quality that exists from like a classical British acting world. You know, people always put like the British. They think people just because they have a British accent they act better, which is you know. So I am inspired to bring that type of work and dedication to the video game and anime world to bridge that in some way and bring that quality. What is it for you that is most inspiring right now? Where do you find the most inspiration in this career for you? Is it still playing video games and watching anime, or is it going to the gym and encouraging people? Like what is the fire behind Bill Butts right now?
That's an interesting thing. The truth behind that truth is the same with the gym, same with the acting, same with a lot of things, is I'm looking for that invisible next step that I can't see or barely even comprehend. Now, when I say that is, I had a lot of talks, and I still do, with folk about like, what's the next bit of considered good acting? And they'd be like, well, what's like, no, consider it. We have our 90s anime acting, our 2000s anime acting, and now it's going to get more grounded. What will be considered good and real and believable next? Because that's what I'm aspiring to. Even the gym, I'll be doing things like, all right, cool, I want to do more pull-ups than anyone else. So let's see, the world record is like 56, 60 in 1 minute. Cool. I'm going to go for that. And now we try for a number higher than that because it's something that hasn't been done before. And I say that the same all ties in together of finding that more bit of that man behind the curtain, that unveiling of more truth behind what is human, the portrayal of the human experience, which is acting. Yeah. I'm looking for that, and that quest and that thirst for that in a performance is really what drives me forward. I bet I bug my roommates all the time. I sit back there and I'll do an audition and I'll listen back to it like, there's more to it. There's more to it. What do I really need in the situation? What is, as me right now, I'm talking to like my wife or that in this scene. How do I really feel? Because that goes back into one of my coaches, actually the guy who directed me in the play. His name was Mike Gabinelli. He'd always tell me the most important scene that ever happened is the one that happened just before it.
Yes.
You're going to take all that with you. So I always consider that in all my performances, even if it's just an audition. So when they hear it, the worst that's going to happen is be like, they will remember me.
Yeah.
If I hire a celebrity to be like, damn, but that bill. Okay, cool. We'll put that aside.
Yes.
And that's what I'm going for. That's my inspiration. I'm chasing that invisible bit, you know?
So, I think that's, from an acting perspective, that is such great advice that you were given, and I could preach that till the cows come home. Like, what do you really want and what just happened? What are you coming from? I think people always forget that. They see these lines out of context, and they're like, oh, I just need to say this line in a certain way. It's like, no! Yeah. What are you doing, and why are you doing it? What do you want? Yeah. People don't just do things for, the sake. People don't just say words. No. We're trying to convey things through actions and emotions and desires. Yeah. So that's great advice. And the invisible step, too, is really interesting. Like, what is that next level of what is going to set the bar even higher. Like, what is it going to be?
Yeah.
It is that real and grounded world we're living in right now where they want things very cinematic, even from a video game and anime perspective. But what is that next step, and how do you reach for that next step without knowing what it is? And I think what you were even saying is it's like just taking risks, and you'll stumble upon it by just doing that bold move or action or choice. And it may not be right now, but it might be right a year from now or 2 years. Yeah. People do remember performances. Gosh, I was going to ask if you had like advice to your younger self, but I feel like you've already given me so much of it. I feel like that's combined. But I do want to ask if there has been an experience you've had, whether in this career or life, and it doesn't have to be related to the industry, something that you did, you went through, it was kind of like what, meeting Keith Silverstein and him talking you for an hour, or, working with a coach or a trainer, or getting your first car, whatever it is. Was there an experience in your life that really changed you, your foundation shifted, or it gave you a new perspective that you feel like if people heard this story or experience, they would be like, heck yeah, I can take that with me and use it, maybe not today, but tomorrow or another day? Like, what is an experience that comes to mind that really had an impact on you?
Can I give 3?
Please.
Is that okay?
Gosh, I'm strapped in.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with 1. The first one would be actually martial arts. And it started off with something that I didn't even really believe. And I repeat, you can find me on any social media. You can find photo and video of all of this. I said because, like, for me, I take a lot of photos because I'm like, this is part of the story of my life. Yes. It's like, no, this is you need to know this.
You're chronicling it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important. Like, I'm important. You're important, Paul. And those listening, you're important. People learn either seeing things, smelling things, taste, whatever, like any of your senses, and that's how they remember it forever. So like a photo just adds more to that on top of like either a video or television. You can describe the full bit of the scene. So I'm going to end this here. And this was back in my first job, which was a Funko Land, which became a GameStop. And of all things, I'm sitting there like, my buddy, and my boss goes, a friend of mine just became like a ninja. I laughed, he laughed. And like 6 months later, me and buddy Jake were just kind of like driving around that area. I'm like, oh, hey, you should turn over here, see if there's actually people training. And lo and behold, there were 2 dudes in black actually sword fighting. I'm like, what? I walked in, and that's where I met a guy named Tom Mayenza. And he was there legitimately training ninjutsu, and he was trying to open up a school in KC, where he actually came from. Was actually up north and closer to like Chicago and Naperville, and even a bit of a Dayton, where there's a whole other set of schools I'll talk about here in a minute, that legitimately, I'm talking all the way from Hatsumi Sensei in Japan and Stephen K. Hayes, who brought ninjutsu to America. He learned from them. So it was a 2-step process. Yeah. 2-step process. We've known them for years. And yeah, you can find photos of them all together. Absurdly powerful people. And so I learned from him and then a guy named Michael Eichenberg. You can easily find Michael Eichenberg on social media, actually. And I was like, all right, cool. I trained for a little bit until I had a lot of fun with it. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm like 17. I'm pound for pound the strongest person to ever go to my high school. It's awesome. I feel confident. And then some more folk walked in, and a guy named Steve Crawford, who actually owned the building at the time, he ran a lot of MMA. And he was like, hey, I want to train? I'm like, yes. And I got obliterated. So I got beat by guys who had amazing stand-up, who do these Aikido ninjutsu, which is brutal Aikido, that's pretty much what ninjutsu is. And there's people who are this ground and pounders. I got destroyed, and I loved it. They took my pride and helped me kind of like manifest that to this point where I need to like figure out that this is just the beginning. I need to learn and grow and do more. So you do a bit of training. We would go like 3 days over in Naperville, Illinois. We would train for 3 straight days. Okay, it's called the Shugyo, which is repetitive posterior training. And we would just do that, just brutal bits. But at the same time, it would kind of help, how to describe this, like sharpen you, fortify you. And it'd be male, female would be there. And doing that and learning to eventually I got my black belt was changing for me, because by the time I got the belt, I didn't really even care for it. It's in like my closet over there. And the learning process of that, of like learning a skill, doing it again and again and again and again, even when fighting, and separating my mindset from that, even goes even like acting, playing like a villain, kind of like, can you breathe a little bit, but at the same time understanding that it's a fight, because there's a lot of fighting. There's like a few katas, and it's all techniques. It changed me a lot. Yeah. It did. It built my confidence, built my discipline up like none other. More even now, that's why I train 6 days a week. It was like, cool. It's like, no, you do this again and again and again, and the benefit in the long term is going to be worth it. While at the same time, you can build confidence into there where I can walk up terrifyingly into Bang Zoom and be like, yeah, all right, cool. You know what? Bet. Because I think to myself, like, I have fought 10-minute once. This ain't shit. Walk in here and just read these lines. Okay. So it's
perspective,
it's great
and the discipline that martial arts, I think, gives is so, it could be so impactful for a career in the arts. I think people don't maybe relate those two things quite often, but the focus and the attention and the dedication that stuff takes, it is so useful as an artist, as an actor. Yeah. So it is. And like you just said, like, I'm trying. I know how to survive during an apocalypse. Am I really gonna sit here and allow my fear overcome me, saying a couple of words on a page? It really does give you perspective.
Right? What if they think I'm bad? They've judged you the second you walk in. It really doesn't matter. They might like you. I mean, really, you're gonna have a sandwich regardless afterwards.
You will eat your lunch.
So I have that, and it kind of relaxes me a lot more, and there kind of built my confidence. So I recommend that for those, really acting. Take them up on martial art. Join a gym. Push yourself. Figure out yourself. And at the same time, here's the other two. It was a 2-for-1. It was actually both of my grandparents. My grandpa on my mom's side, he was lost in an incident in a hospital a few months before I was born. But he was Richard Sims, and this guy was a activist, fully involved in his community, church man, military, you name it, raised 6 kids. I'm talking like activist, was there for absolute black right movements. The guy was he was a black DJ, which is nearly rare back then. I go on for a minute about him, to the point where if you don't believe me, you can Google his name. He has a plaque on the Chesapeake Bay right now. Yeah. Absolute man. So hearing about him and my grandpa, my dad, it was very similar. Very, 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 very similar. And I look at their lives and I think about how can I bring the torch forward. Now, here's another reason why I bring them up, how they inspire me, is a lot of times to tell people who are listening to this right now, look at your heroes and people like that and think to yourself, as being almost like an echo in eternity. How can you pass it forward and bring a positive change to those now that are around you in that? Acting, I'm portraying the human experience, good or bad. You can see it in something. Yeah, you know what? Me too. Yeah, man, I've been there. Because even me, as an actor right now, I'll watch movies and I'll cry, whatnot. I'll be like, I get that. Yeah. I get that. Everything Everywhere All at Once, man, I felt the husband in that movie right there. It's like, yeah, I've been there, fam. I've been there. And I'll cry and I'll think of memories and I'll laugh. And it's a beautiful moment, which is life. Even a kata is a moment. It is a moment right there. I can just really encapsulate, just circle around in that right there. And then I can just kind of move it forward. Now, the question is, look at what you're doing. Maybe you're not an actor. That's fine. Maybe you work at a Target or a Best Buy. Maybe you're a writer. Maybe you're an artist. Art is very beautiful and important. Maybe you're a mathematician. Regardless, just look at who you came before you and see what you can bring. Do even if it's just a small thing, because I want to say this for one very important reason. Go back to the very beginning. One random person, I have no idea who is. Hey, you have a nice voice. You should probably do theater. Hey, Keith Silverstein. Hey, oh yeah, man. Here's an hour of my time. And now here I am. You don't realize, you might think it's small to you, but it's huge for someone else. So take that going forward.
is very. I think that artists specifically, but I think this applies to any career and just the human experience. Kind of the reaching of the arm down to the people that are still finding their way, or the next generation, whatever the group of people that aren't where you are at potentially, however we view subjectively success, whatever, all that stuff. There is a kind of an obligation I feel, and I've always felt towards. I mean, it's kind of what this podcast is about, is providing resources to people and giving people the opportunity to chase their dreams. But something you said, which was very important, is how can you leave something in this echo chamber to keep these movements, these motions going forward of the people before us, of our heroes before us. And I struggled with this for a while, where I would be like, what am I doing with my life? I dress up and I scream into a microphone, or I play pretend. Is this really meaningful? There's been so many times where I've had that conversation, and then like I'll go to the movies and I'll watch something, or I'll play a game and I'll go, this is giving me such a viscerally like transformative experience in my life and my body, and giving me meaning and giving me purpose. Like, it's giving me joy, it's giving me happiness, sadness. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not curing cancer, but I'm doing the other thing that's really important, which is allowing us to continue having this experience and talking about things and experiencing stories that we wouldn't experience otherwise. We're not sitting around the campfire anymore telling fables. We go to the movies. We play video games. This is how we consume story. Even reading books is becoming a bit of a pastime, which is kind of scary. But it's just kind of the future. So I do agree that, especially in art, acting, any sort of venture, there's a really there is a big importance that we can keep moving the needle forward. And even if it's not the case, what you were saying is like, where can you find your passion, your inspiration, even like creating a healthy work environment. Maybe that's something you can be a part of. Like, hey, at this company, we don't do this really well. Can we talk about this? Can we fix this? Can we figure out ways of incorporating some conversations to be like, hey, people need longer than 5 minutes to eat their lunch, whatever it might be. I think that's very important. I'm really glad you shared those experiences, because that's, I think, what everything in this world is about, experiences and making them better for the next people. Maybe? I don't know.
Right. I mean, last I checked, it sounds good to me, I'm saying.
Print it, Parker!
I'm off this morning.
Well, Bill, you have been an absolute pleasure here. I've had so much fun. You are extremely talented. It's been a pleasure to know you, get to know you, and I'm so excited for everything coming up that I know you cannot talk about it. But the more you've alluded to it now, it just makes me even more hungry.
My man.
Is there anything you would like to share that you can talk about or point people towards something? Is there a website or a social media they should follow more so than another? You said you love photos. Should people be on the Instagram, the Twitter? What can people do to find you, or what should they be looking forward to? Oh,
sure. You can find me as Billdozer77 on Instagram and Billdozer777 on Twitter. You find me there a lot. If I really know you, you can find me on Facebook. If I actually know you, I will add you. If not, don't take it personally. But it's still an open Facebook, so you can just see what I write. But if I don't friend you, it's probably because I never met you.
Yes.
So that's fair. Let's be honest. Though I'm very active on all three, especially Twitter. And I apologize, this would be more so. I did a push-up today. I made a brisket. I don't like to do too much with the drama, so I'm saying like, hey, well, Black Lives Matter. If that's too much drama for you, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you can find me there. Pretty easy. Outside of that, I go to the gym. I keep it easy.
Yes. Well, you are an inspiration to me.
You're an inspiration,
hey,
Paul.
I'm just doing what I do. I'm just waking up and going to sleep. That's what I'm doing. That's my motto. Wake up and then make sure you go to sleep. If you've done something real good. But you really are. You've been an inspiration to me and to many others, and I think you are. I really do think you are a really pivotal person in the voiceover industry, not just for what you speak about and what you advocate for, but also, it sounds silly, but like fitness is a really important thing. And I think a lot of people who are interested in VO, there is a tendency for there to be an apprehension to go to the gym or worry about your fitness, or the stereotypes of what typical anime people are or how they look and how they care about their body. I think there is a world where you can be interested in all these things. You can be a nerd and you can also be in good shape, and you can take care of yourself, and you can advocate for your health. And I think you are someone who is a very, very good success story of that. So thank you for doing that, and make sure you guys check out Bill's stuff. He is a wonderful, wonderful human being. If you haven't seen JoJo's or Cyberpunk or any of the other cool things, I highly recommend it. You were also in My Hero Academia. We'll hear about this in the intro I record earlier. We're going to hear about all of his credits. But as the more I've gotten to know you and your work, I've really just been inspired. So thank you for coming on here. Thank you for sharing your stories with our audience. And we'll have to have you back at some time, man. This has been a blast.
Brother, name the day.
I will name many. Thank you, dude. This has been amazing. We will hang out soon. You will see how weak I am, and hopefully you will push me to become stronger.
Oh, your soul is mine.
Awesome, dude. Bill, thank you so much for coming on, dude. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye. Great, dude. What a amazing personality. I strive to be as jolly as Bill is. He really always just puts a smile on my face. I got to know him fairly recently, but he's just a good guy. Just a good, honest, nice guy. One of those people that you're like, I feel better being around this person. And sometimes those people are hard to find. So thank you, Bill, for everything you do. He is, if you haven't seen Cyberpunk, same with Zach, just the performances across the board, phenomenal. What a great show. And even his stuff in My Hero, in Tekken, the animated series. Really, really talented actor. I always get impressed when somebody just kind of stumbles into this career like he did. Kind of accidentally, off of the suggestion of someone saying, hey, you're good at something. So, thank you guys for watching, listening, ignoring, whatever you choose to do with this podcast. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. You're a real one. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a review on the Apple and the Spotify and the whatever. Your words mean a lot to me. We're almost at a year. Insane. www.paulcastrojr.com/coaching. If you are interested in doing some private coaching, I'm going to be offering limited amounts of it. Limited amounts, because I don't have a lot of time, and some career consultations if you're considering being a voiceover. We can go over your materials and all that good stuff. So check that out. More podcast episodes coming every week. You know the deal. Thank you, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.